We'll call the meeting to order. City of Anamosa City Council agenda regular session, Monday, January 11th, 2021, 6 p.m. Anamosa Library and Learning Center, also via Zoom. 1.0 roll call.
Crump,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Lockhart,
Here.
Zumba,
Here.
Stout,
Here.
Capron,
Here.
All council members are in attendance. 2.0 Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have council members that are attending the meeting Zoom. So we will roll call all motion. Rebecca, if there's anyone else that would be in attendance at Zoom that might be joining us for the first time, would you please give them a rundown on how to go about addressing the council in due time?
Sure. And I'll just remind council members of the microphones. They're pretty good, somewhere between 1 foot and 2 foot away from your mouth, and they're pretty directional. So even if you turn your head, do try to talk into the microphone while you do that. For those joining us on Zoom, you can let me know that you'd like to talk by raising your hand. I know that on some computers, the raise your hand option has changed its location. For some people, that is now going to be under the reactions button on the bottom part of their screen on their desktop or laptop. For others, you may still find that by looking at the participants. So there should be a participants button at the bottom of the screen. You click on that, and that should bring up a sidebar that shows the list of participants. If you are on a mobile device, there should be like a a more option that would allow you hopefully to find that raise your hand option. The other way that you can get my attention is in the chat. There should be a chat button somewhere. If you click on that, you can let me know in the chat that you'd like to speak, and then I will let you know once the mayor opens it to public comment that it's your turn. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Rebecca, for those instructions. 3.0 approval of agenda.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion by Jeff, second by Galen, to approve the agenda as submitted before us. Jeff, did you conduct the roll vote?
Capron,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Motion to approve the agenda carried unanimously. 4.0, motion to approve the minutes from the following meetings. 4.1, December 28th, 2020, regular council meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Alan, second by John, to approve the minutes. Any corrections or additions? Beth?
Smith,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Capron,
Yeah. Motion to approve the minutes as submitted carried unanimously. 5.0, public hearings, none. 6.0, proclamations. School Choice Week, January 24th through the 30th, 2021. I'll read the proclamation. Anamosa School Choice Week. Whereas all children in Anamosa should have access to the highest quality education possible. And whereas Anamosa recognizes the important role that an effective education plays in preparing all students in Anamosa to be successful adults. And whereas quality education is critically important to the economic vitality of Anamosa. And whereas Anamosa is home to a multitude of high-quality public and non-public schools from which parents can choose for their children, in addition to families who educate their children in home. And whereas educational variety not only helps to diversify our community, but also enhances the vibrancy of our community. And whereas Anamosa has many highly quality teaching professionals in all types of school settings who are committed to the education of our children. And whereas School Choice Week is celebrated across the country by millions of students, parents, educators, schools, and organizations to raise awareness of the need for effective educational options. Now therefore, I, Rod Smith, do hereby recognize January 24th through the 30th, 2021 as Anamosa School Choice Week, and I call this observance to the attention of all of our citizens. 7.0, old business. 7.1, review and approval of repayment agreements for sewer service line at 402 North William Street.
Move to
Move to
approve.
approve. Second.
A motion by Kay, a second by Alan. Any further discussion? Any public inquiry? Beth?
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba.
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion to repay, repayment agreement for sewer service line carried unanimously. 7.2, discussion of possible action on Sycamore Street project.
Hello. Shane Brown, Streets Department Superintendent. I talked to Beth here not too long ago and thought that we needed a second look at Sycamore Street from a different perspective, a different engineering firm. And we can tell that we probably should have went this route in the first place. It's considerably less. And in my opinion, I think we should do it. I don't think it's gonna be I don't think it's gonna be $240,000 to do this project. I think that's just kind of like a high number like the other group did, but this isn't cloud numbers now. We're getting closer to where we need to be. I feel like this project should be accomplished. I've had quite a bit of discussion with Beth on it. And other people have taken some other contractors up there to have them look at it. And they said, it's a big project, but I said, it's going to be let to bid if you guys decide on it. But they seem like they're pretty interested in wanting to bid it. So, I think, I think in all around feelings for everybody, this has been a street that's been put on hold and not done for 5 or 6 years or whatever it's been. Let's just get it done, I guess, so we can move on to some other streets that are going to take precedence in the next couple of years.
What's the difference between their Shane and Snyder for the big difference in the money?
Nothing. I sat down with these guys from HR Green and I told them I wanted real numbers, not something off the wall. And I felt like that's what I got with Snyder. It's only one block. And I took him out there and I showed him. He took a ton of pictures. I took Eric Lode up with us. And I kept telling him that this project is doable But the city is not gonna look at something at 500,000. It's one block. I can see 500,000 on something that we're gonna put sewer and water and stuff in, but we're not. I think we got one manhole to mess with and then a sidewalks and retaining wall and ADA. So, I mean, I feel like with HR Green, I hit closer to home on a price, I guess, than I did with the others. And I'm probably gonna
Hey.
use these guys.
Shane?
Yeah.
Is this narrowing the street at all or leaving the street the same width? What are we doing here?
I think it's narrowing it, but it's not on here and I didn't notice it till tonight. But narrowing it would be the more feasible way because that would get the sidewalk down in front of Dan Smith's tree versus up where it is now. So we'd have more room and less retaining wall to have to build. So I think we're gonna, I mean, that's the route we should go. I don't want to do it, but really every street in town is what it needs to be.
Shane, you
Um,
might want to move the microphone just a smidge further from your voice.
Okay, sorry. So we've looked at it, I don't know, 10 different ways. I mean, really, if we narrow it, we can get the street brought up like we want to, because it's got a heck of a dip on the north side of it. And that's what I told these people. They had to come out and look at this. They couldn't do it over the phone because of that dip on the north side of the road is so bad that we're starting to lose our curb and gutter over there because the weight of the side of the hill is pushing the curb down. And so it's buckling that on the north side of the road. So we're starting to have some issues. I mean, we could put this off another year or two, but I think we should just go ahead and get it done.
You're gonna replace the sidewalk the whole way on the north side,
Yep,
move it like Dan's past the tree and then all
Yep.
the way to Davis.
yep. And then and hopefully I have money left over, but I want to bring new sidewalk to where they end up at on William Street from, is that Lynn? I'm not sure. Pine? Is it Pine to the north of
next
there?
one up, yeah.
We'd like to bring new sidewalk down and meet, but the city would do that. You know what I'm saying? Down to where they stop going north
Yeah,
with Dan's. So it'd be all fresh for that block, but we'll do that.
and you're gonna put sidewalk the whole length on the south side?
So there'll be sidewalk to where it is now. But you'll get new driveway entrances. And there'll be a new entrance to that alley. I think on your side of the street, you get ADA on the west end also. So you're going to be less steps too.
But this is a good idea. I'm not arguing that, but I just wondered, to make it ADA compliant when the sidewalk stops just east of me.
Mhm.
And then I've got steps to go up to the next
Right,
residence. What are they gonna, because I see, and I don't know if they're doing the same, but this had a 1-foot retaining wall there in front of the next residence, and I couldn't figure what,
right.
are
And
they
that's
gonna take them
something
steps out? I just wondering how they're gonna make that.
they said they'd make her work.
Well, I mean,
I-
I'm no engineer.
I'm not either, I guess. But I know they're gonna make it all so everybody will be safe.
Yeah, but like I said, this one from Snyder had the sidewalk going all the way to
Right.
William. And you're just figuring going as far as it is now.
Yep.
Okay,
Because then I would have to
And it,
probably, our alliance got poles there.
yeah,
So I'd probably have to work something out with them.
Yeah, run into more cost.
And really, the sidewalk, if we ever would have to do a sidewalk to, let's say, down to the 5-way or Lynn Court down there, I'm thinking the sidewalk's gonna have to go on the north side of the road. Just in future, because on the south side of the road, on Sycamore heading east, your utility poles are all on the south side of the road. So we wouldn't have to fight with the utility company. So I'm looking at that too, is someday we'll probably have to put a sidewalk from in front of Dan's
Although
all the way to,
it should be with the middle school there, down that way now.
yep,
So yeah, that's
and
a
that's gonna
safety
get more
factor.
busy. So
Yeah.
it's something to look into, but you know, we really don't need a sidewalk on the south side. I mean, they're gonna fix that ADA because there is a sidewalk coming up North Williams on the west side of the
West
road,
side, yeah.
which connects in with Dan straight across.
Yeah.
So then we won't need ADA going to William Street on the south side because there's no sidewalk to go there. So
Approximately how much are they narrowing it on each side?
We can't hear you, Galen.
I said, how much are they narrowing it on each side?
well, I think the one side's 8 foot.
And then they're not narrowing it on the other, because they're not bringing that side in
I-
too?
They might, but it only has to come in like 1.5 feet to meet up with Sycamore going east. We were just gonna try and meet up with what Sycamore is east of there. So it would only have to come in 1 foot. It wasn't really that, the south side's really not that far off of where it's at now. It was the north side that's way off.
So are there any, aside from poles, are there any other utilities that might be running up along there? You know, internet connectivity to people, water, where do all those lines run?
I'm not sure on that. I just contacted these guys to see if they would give us a bid. And I'm assuming there's probably internet through there on the east side of Dan Smith's property. But they're gonna have to be somewhat deep because they have to go underneath the road of Sycamore. So I'm not sure, you know, I'm guessing that's gonna be something we have to look into, but I'm guessing that the company's already figured this out.
Well, the water comes up Davis, past ours, and then, you know, so that's where that crosses
Yeah.
Sycamore there, that I,
Or it comes up Williams,
same way, I'm
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
and there's a internet box at Pine and Williams, I think.
Okay, you might want to move your mic a little closer.
I think it looks good. I don't know if they're, I mean, I like the price difference. Is there any way we'd be able to get, you know, like the diagrams and the visuals that we got with Schneider, just, you know, before we commit to get a few more details?
I can ask. I was surprised they didn't send it with this actually, but
The one thing that jumps out to me was temporary traffic control, $10,000. I mean, what is that?
Yeah,
What's temporary traffic control? It's going to cost $10,000.
I think they just throw that in there. So it's like if somebody has to rent stuff, but I'm thinking we can do it ourselves.
I mean,
So that's something we can take out. I mean, we can play with this. You know, I can suggest things. Being as it's this big of a project, I don't know if I can be totally involved with like everything. Without, I don't want the companies that are bidding on this to think that we're gonna take away their money. But as of that's crazy for the
Traffic.
traffic control,
Mm,
because you just gotta let, Jones County know, emergency management know what's going on and how long you think it's gonna last. And then we have enough road closed signs and detour signs that we could probably do it ourselves.
Well, I was gonna
So-
say, I'm assuming you've looked through this to figure out where we can possibly save some money on it. Because I
Yep,
mean, realistically, hopefully we don't have to dip into the contingency. You know, that's almost $35,000 right there, that if we can save that. And why do they have sign removal? We can remove signs ourselves.
right. See, we're not, they just put that in there, like a general, like, so they're just making this up for us as we go. So they have, so I kind of put them on the, I put them on the, I made them do it pretty fast because I told them I wanted it done before we started budget. And they did. They came through and got this done for me before budget. Because like I said, this is gonna cut into quite a few alleys and stuff that we'd be doing, but if we get it, that's why we're here tonight too, because budget starts in a week. And so, I just thought if you guys wanted to get it done, I just wanted them to get this out to me. I mean, I can sit down with these people on the phone and I can say, the millings and stuff like that, we're gonna haul them down to our shop. We can always use those. So they won't be that trucking and all that for that. But I mean, you still have to give people a chance to, like I said, they're not probably gonna bid it this high.
Well, the figures look a lot more realistic. And from what I can tell, just kind of comparing the two, it looks to me like they covered all the bases, and some of those bases, like you were saying, we could probably pull out. But for bidding it the way they did, they left nothing, no stone unturned, it doesn't look like. So some of that stuff we would be doing, I understand that. But I do like this figure a lot better than the other one.
But I think Jeff
Oh,
suggestion to get a visual like Snyder bid or a drawing.
conceptual.
Yeah, have a little bit of an idea better. It's
Yeah,
very
but
good.
I'm impressed Shane, that these guys came in here with this number, and I'm glad you contacted them.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's well over 100 and some thousand difference.
This is still
Absolutely.
a guesstimate, correct?
Yeah, so this is still probably a pretty high number. I'm guessing, but it's not 470,000 high.
Yeah.
So I was pretty excited that it was about half.
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, there's some things we could take out of here to save us some money. I mean, that's the way, that every town's gonna do it. I just wanted to get a feel for you guys that I went out and I got another bid and I hustled them right along so we could get this going. So I'm sorry for that. But I do feel that getting that second bid has opened our eyes a little bit on some stuff.
definitely.
It definitely shows the importance of having more than one
One bid.
bid.
That's
when We
right.
do a major project.
Yep, and this is
another
a
thing
major
it does
project.
Too, is I think is there, it puts a little pressure on the other companies that we've been working with when they realize that we went with somebody else, that maybe they better be a little more
Right.
realistic themselves.
Yeah,
So you could ask for a conceptualization of the project by the next meeting, perhaps?
Good.
Can't hurt to ask.
No. Nope, I can do that.
that sounds good.
Okay.
Shane, there's 152,000 difference between HR Green and Snyder's bids on the narrowing of the street. Did Did you look at the itemization? I'm seeing that H&R, their curb and gutter is 3 feet by 6 inch,
which is normal.
and Schneider's is 2 feet by 8. Schneider has 270 square yards of 4-inch sidewalk. H&R Green has 200. I'm reading this right, 202 maybe, 200. But Schneider also has 6-inch sidewalk of an additional 90 square yards.
Must have missed that. I've been looking, and
And the driveway, paving of the driveways, Schneider has 6-inch. And H&R has 5-inch. So there is some variation on the itemization. I'm not saying that justifies 152,000. Although,
Well, would 6 inch be overkill? I'm thinking in driveway, like residential driveways, would be at the most 5. Four sounds familiar. Do you know, Shane?
normally a driveway is 4 unless you're driving a
even
semi
out
on
at
it.
the aprons though,
Huh?
at the aprons,
Yeah. The only place I would use 6 inches probably in that alley. The Smith alley would be the only one I would worry about.
Because of the garbage truck.
Yeah, because of the trucks going through there to pick up the garbage. I mean, my approach out or our approach out in front of our shop for our tractors is only 5-inch with rebar in it. I know because I poured that myself.
the retaining wall for H&R is block. And the retaining wall for Snyder is concrete.
And I felt concrete walls is better than the block walls.
That's what I'm saying. Snyder's is concrete, where H&R is using block.
I thought it said they were using concrete walls.
So item number, just above the miscellaneous. Modular block
Oh,
retaining
modular
wall.
Yeah.
But the retaining wall for the lower bid isn't as high as the retaining wall for the first bid from Snyder, because in Snyder's, doesn't the retaining wall entail moving or cutting down that walnut tree that's there on Sycamore? And then the bid from HR Green is putting the sidewalk below it, so the retaining wall wouldn't be as high.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in my opinion, I think we'd be better off with a block wall. I know where there's a cement wall right now in this town. It's probably been there for I don't know how many years. But the freezing and thawing has split and broken that cement wall. Now what you do is you got to tear that cement wall out, and then you got to put a new one in. Where if the block wall starts to fail someplace, all you got to do is remove the blocks, remove the dirt where it needs to be, and put the blocks back in. I would think it would be more reasonable to go with the block in that case. I would want to know what size blocks they're using.
Right.
You're going to want something that sets back in there far enough that it gets a good bite on the ground too.
Well, they have those bigger, I don't know what you call them, really big. I think they're like cement forms they use as individual on big retaining walls, where there's not a lot of pieces. You know what I'm talking about, Shane? That they
Yep.
use something like that.
I'd much rather see a block wall.
I mean, King's Concrete's got anything you want.
Yeah,
Or
I've been
Bard
there.
Concrete's got it too.
I've been there and gone through their facility.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we have options. I mean, we're not. I just thought the price of this was a lot better.
Even if it grew just a little bit, it's still a heck of a lot less than what Snyder's asking for.
Well, like Shane said, the city can take some of that out of there on this bid.
Yes, sir, I
that
think
the
we
city
can.
can do. We had to do a little tweaking with. I was thinking same thing, blocks, they don't crack like a cement wall.
No, they don't. And if they move, we can always put them back.
So,
Lot less money expended the next time if something like that has to be
Well,
done.
and if they're put in right, they're gonna be there forever.
Yeah,
You know, make sure that there's drainage behind them and tile and everything else to make sure that that water doesn't keep the pressure on them, and they'll
Yep.
last.
I don't know if they bid it this way, but I know like, some people I know, before they built their block wall, they put a footing down and then they put their blocks on top of it.
Hmm,
Yep,
that's a good
that'll
idea.
help.
mhm.
It's okay, or, excuse me, John had suggested coming back with the illustration of the project. Is there anything else that the council would like to give direction to?
hopefully we see that, then we'll know. I mean, question till we see that, but I think it'll give us a pretty good idea where they're narrowing it, how far and that. I think then we can, sounds like hopefully then we can make a decision next meeting if we need to.
Agreed.
Go ahead and table this discussion until the plans are submitted.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything.
No motion,
Your
but,
decision. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shane.
Thanks, Shane.
7.2 will table for further discussion. It'll be on the next meeting agenda. 7.3, review and approval of final budget timeline. This, do we have, if we're making any changes to the initial budget submitted,
Just,
is there a time that we can see the finalization of that, or will it occur with our?
you mean like an overall? budget?
Yeah, so if we
Yeah.
request for reductions in budgets,
So February 1st is the one that I added on here. And that'll be for review, and we'll talk about the levy at that time too.
so we can,
Yep.
we can earmark that for it.
Yep.
Good, thanks.
Because you'll have all of the department's budgets by then.
Aggressive. Any questions?
Have,
on-
just a quick question. Have the outside entities been notified to have their request in, or?
They have. So it'll
Okay.
be, yeah, I had it published, the public notice in the paper twice. And I posted it on the door. Most of them have contacted me already, so.
Good.
Are you looking for a motion to accept this as a?
Yeah, just since I
Okay.
added that extra.
I'll
page.
make a motion to approve the budget timeline.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Kay. Any further discussion with council? Beth? Roll vote, please.
Zumba,
Yes,
Crum,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yeah.
Smith,
Yes.
Mockert,
Yes,
Okay, motion to approve the budget timeline carried unanimously. 8.0, new business. 8.1, Approval of the committee appointments for 2021 is recommended by Mayor Rod Smith.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alan, second by John. Any other discussion? Seth?
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yeah.
Motion to approve appointments carried unanimously. 8.2, resolution approving and setting the dates for the regular Anamosa City Council meetings for calendar year 2021.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Alan. Any other discussion? Beth?
Stout,
Yes.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Capron,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Motion to approve dates carried unanimous. 8.3, discussion of possible action on job description and salary range for wastewater superintendent. Beth, the duties and responsibilities, that is what we currently had in place.
It is.
Is there any
Yep.
modifications to it?
I didn't really have any. I didn't know if anyone else had any that they thought we would change, but they're pretty comprehensive.
Person have to live in the community because it says they need to be available 24 hours a day in case of emergency. Does it say about anything about that in their description? I've forgotten.
Let's see. I read a couple versions of this.
Beth, you may want to move your microphone a smidge closer.
Well, it says there that residency requirements is, it is suggested that the employee reside in the Anamosa Community School District within 1 month after serving probationary period. So that puts them in the school district anyway.
Which, if you want to change it to a certain radius so they can be here within a certain amount of minutes, we can do that.
I think that's kind of
I
typical.
think that's good to start with.
What are you saying, Kay? To leave it as it is or do a radius?
No, leave it as it is.
So we're not requiring the city administrator to live within the city limits, but we are the wastewater superintendent.
The wastewater superintendent doesn't have to live within city limits.
It
This
says,
is
it
full-
It
says
says you had-
okay, it's in most of the school district. Okay, I
Right.
understood that. So it could be rural Anamosa.
Sure.
Okay.
We've all discussed the salary and agreed on this, correct? Am I trying to recall?
This pay rate I have in here is just what was in that wage range,
Okay,
this 27-point scale. Actually, this corresponds more closely to the water department, since Dan had that,
Jump in salary that one.
yeah,
time.
that kind of threw it all
Yeah.
off. So I didn't know if you wanted to expand that, keep it the same.
Have you done any research to see where this range would compare on a state level for facility and community size?
For like for a grade 3. I mean, I think this range is well within that. I mean, once you get to a little bit larger city, it climbs, but so do all the other salaries, so.
Like what would be, like would Macokota have a similar wastewater operation to ours, or I'm just thinking of surrounding towns?
Yeah, well, it's hard to distinguish because like grade threes, like even smaller towns like Lisbon and um, Mount Vernon, they all have grade three plants too. So
Okay.
it's
Oh.
hard to do it with the grade, like the pay with the grade of wastewater.
Are Mount Vernon and Lisbon in this range?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it looks to me like that it's a fairly good range, given the kind of experience we're hoping we'll get from an employee. It looks like a good range to me.
Going along with this, in the interim, is the running of the department kind of going through you, Beth, like as far as budget and just employees down there and stuff?
Yeah. So yeah, we did have a contractor submit something to us, but they had a lot of stipulations with it, so that's not really going to work with where we're at right now. I talked to the DNR. We just have to have, I have an affidavit for us to sign that just says, this is our plan. So this is how much time we're gonna, and I'm hoping to have someone, before the end of March for sure. So that's kind of where I put it as the outside.
Good.
So
And-
Beth, where do you plan on posting this or going out to try to find somebody?
So this I'll probably post for sure on the League of Cities, probably the Gazette, though. If we would get someone that lives on, let's say, this side of Cedar Rapids, residency wise, I don't know if they're going to move if they can get here in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's all. So there's a lot of things to
Yeah.
consider with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll put it out there with this. We can always adjust it and extend the application time. But yeah, I was thinking the Gazette, for sure, the League of Cities. I'll probably post it on ClerkNet.
You do LinkedIn?
I don't.
Indeed.
Indeed will pick it up from the Gazette.
Okay.
So they usually just draw their feed off of
Have
other
you,
places.
have you looked into any of the magazines for like the Operators magazine?
Well, the IMU will
Yeah.
also advertise for us
Okay,
since we're a member.
that will get you pretty much the whole state.
Right.
I mean,
Good point, Gail.
and they will,
Do you know what the, is three pretty typical size, plant, or I mean, is there a lot that jump down to the two, or, what takes a four, or I guess I don't know.
There's not much left for two, I don't believe.
So it'd be
Would
threes
that
and fours.
Two would be a lagoon, I believe, still. So they're kind of eliminating those. There's not a lot of those. Privately, there's places that have lagoons, but
Okay.
otherwise, yeah.
Basically, people running cities would be 3 and 4. I mean, the thing I thought in my head is if we didn't have one that was a good fit for a 3, if hypothetically if there was a 4 person out there from a bigger city, obviously they'd might want more money than what our range is, but I guess we worry about that when the time comes, or if it would come.
Yeah, and Beth,
Yeah.
does the DNR have something that you can put out through them too?
I don't know if they do. So I asked them for help with finding someone in the interim, and she did send me a list of names, but nothing on the other way around.
Okay, well, you might want to just check with them just to see.
Yeah.
If they've got some kind of listing or something that they can post for you. But I think everything looks fine if it's pretty much what we've already got. I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Good.
We have a motion by Rich, second by Alan. Any further discussion? Public input? Beth, would you conduct a roll?
Smith,
Yes.
Perham,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Capron,
Yeah.
Zumba,
Yes,
Stout,
Yes.
Motion to approve job description and salary range is submitted, carried unanimously. 8.4, review and approval of 12 or 15-year borrowing schedule for 1.75 million GO bond.
what was this for originally?
this is for the fire station, police station, the downtown
Revitalization.
revitalization, and the first part of the engineering we paid for on the overpass.
Well, before we even get to that, whether the term, so if I'm looking at this right, so the cost to sell and issue the bonds is that at 22,065? Is that pure cost of facilitating and selling the bonds by this firm?
That would be everything, like our proceedings we have to go through. So the lawyers, bond counsel.
How much of that would be as far as just them, facilitating and issuing and selling the bonds? That'd be half that?
Oh, no. Most of it's the bond attorney for the proceedings.
Okay.
And this is gonna be costing us what, per year?
So annually. So if you look at the debt schedule. So the first page will be the
The debt
the
schedule?
whole thing together. Yeah, and the pages beyond that are just really for accounting internally. Because we'll have the 100,000 and the 250,000 paid off sooner.
Mhm.
So yeah, the first page of the schedule there is the entire issue.
Jessica, do you want to pay it off in 12 years or 15 years?
That's the question.
Do you know, Beth, like on a basic $100,000 assessed value house in town, the two scenarios, what they would raise the taxes? You have-
So with so let's say we were borrowing 2 million for 15 years. It was going to be about $1.11 per thousand. So about $61 per year for $100,000 house.
$200 per year. Okay.
So borrowing less than that, the 1.75. So more than likely it'd be around 80 cents per
So
thousand. I'd say probably 80 or 90 cents. The 12 years is probably going to be closer to the 90 cents.
okay, so the 15 year, it's gonna be less than 61 per year. So what?
Right.
Do you have the math? I'm just,
Yeah, she didn't send me that debt schedule. Yeah, the main difference is actually is probably just gonna be the interest rate. So you're gonna have the interest savings on the 12-year versus the 15.
So what probably $50 a year per 100,000, is that about, would that be about right? I don't know. I'm just trying rough math. Million was, or would it even be?
I'd probably say, yeah, probably 55.
Okay.
Is this locked in, or do we have the option to pay more to kind of beat the interest sum if we have that capacity?
No, it's a standard. You just pay off a bond. So it's divided into equal amounts.
So you just pay, you can't
Right,
jump ahead.
right. You can. You just would have to buy a full year. Like you couldn't just say, well, I'm gonna put an extra 20 grand on it. You'd have to
Okay.
buy whatever the bond issue amount is.
All right.
So like the one we currently have is 700,000, so it's divided into 70,000 increments. So you'd have to buy it, you'd have to pay off an increment. And we probably would have to employ bond counsel to do a pay ahead.
Okay.
What do we currently have for outstanding debt? You said
So our,
it's gonna be getting paid off soon.
correct. So our current outstanding debt is $781,400.
Okay. And what's
So,
that? What's that on?
so we have a $700,000 issue that we're going to pay off this year. And then we also have a $2.65 million issue that'll be paid off in 22.
One of those is for a street or something? Is that
Yep,
right?
correct. Yep, one of them's for streets, and the other one you used for various projects. So it gets paid for out of TIF and general fund. So it was just general obligation.
So by the time the first payment was made on this would be our only debt, this 1.75, because we won't make the first payment until 22, correct?
Well, we'll still have the one for the fire truck. And we also have a 2,000, let's see. Yeah, just the fire truck, I guess, is the only thing left
That's the only debt we have at.
that we'll have along with the 1.75.
Yeah, and that fire truck's getting close to being paid off, right?
Yeah, it's right around $100,000 left on it.
Yeah. So the only thing we'll have in 2021 regarding this would be the interest payments in December, right?
Correct. Yep. Yeah, so we always pay the principal on everything in June of every year. So you make an interest payment in December, and then you pay principal and interest in June.
Okay. For most recent past projects, have we gone the route of doing this avenue with that Spear Financial or some similar company to that? Is that how it's normally done?
It is how it's normally done.
Okay.
I've never done it any other way. So I don't, most of the time, if you go the other route, you'll either pay a higher interest rate or you will have a harder time getting someone to take your whole issue. So you'll have to block it out into little pieces and pay different banks, and it gets harder to keep track of.
The interest rate's very reasonable, I would say.
Well, they're at probably about the lowest they're gonna be. So
Yeah.
now's the time to get them locked in. Do you think the 12-year is a doable thing, repayment, or should we look at the 15 just to make sure?
I think the 12-year should be fine. So I did certify the debt for the 250,000 to come out of the corridor tip area. So, I mean, I think 12 years should be fine.
Good.
The advantage of that is you get it paid off sooner because you know there's going to be other things coming up. So for who knows in 12 years what we're going to need, but I'm sure-
Well, you got that, just the savings on the interest is
yeah,
substantial.
Yeah.
it's a lot.
So I'll move, we go with the 12-year option.
I'll second that.
A motion by Kay, second by Alan to go with the 12-year option on the borrowing schedule. Any further discussion from the council? Is there any public comment? If there is no other discussion, Beth, would you conduct the roll vote?
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Capron,
Yeah.
Stout,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Motion to approve the 12-year schedule carried unanimously. 8.5, review and approval of December treasurer's report. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alan, second by John to approve the treasurer's report. Any further council discussion? Public comment? Beth, conduct the roll.
Smith,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yeah.
Crump,
Yes.
Motion to approve treasurer's report carried unanimously. 8.6, review and approval of current bills.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Jeff. Any further discussion on the itemization? Public comment? Beth?
Lockhart,
Yes.
Zumba,
Yes.
Stout,
Yes.
Capron,
Yeah.
Crump,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion to approve bills carried unanimously. 9.0, city administrators report.
the annual audit is starting, so we've gotten a few requests from the auditors, so that's gonna be taking up a lot of time. Other than that, that's about all that's going on.
The website all up running.
Yeah.
Positive feedback from the public.
Yeah.
No feedback from the public.
Not a lot, just a few people have said, hey, it looks fantastic, but, and
Good.
they love the video.
It was a long time in the works and
Yeah.
finally came to fruition. Software, no other gremlins in it.
Not so far, knock on wood, somewhere.
Good deal.
You're gonna have trouble finding wood around here.
Thank you.
Does the council have any questions for Beth? Thanks for that report, Beth. 10.0, mayor and council's report. 10.1, mayor's report. I had spoken to Shane before the meeting. Shane, again, a lot of positive feedback from the public on the snow removal. I know we're several weeks removed from it, but I'm still hearing positive feedback. That's all I have. 10.2, council reports.
Well, emergency management, 911, of course, budget. Emergency management, they've started, you know, doctors, nurses, some of the essentials, giving the shots. When it'll get out to the public, like Kay said, some states are doing it already, why we haven't done it. The one interesting thing that they set up, Brenda said, like Wyoming, they had set up for 40 people. They thought they had 40 doses. They had 46 doses in them bottles. So they got, luckily enough people they could call in so it didn't waste. Same thing happened in Monticello. So I don't know how, you'd think the doses would be X amount per vial, but so wherever they do it, they need to make sure either got a list, they can get somebody, you don't want to waste them with so many, there isn't enough. So basically that was it for me.
Thanks, John.
Report.
No other council reports. We'll move on. 11.0, public comment for items not on the agenda.
I am not seeing any pop up on Zoom.
Friendly crowd tonight. 12.0, budget work session. Beth, you wanna
Sure, we'll start
go
with
ahead
the,
and call the shots on these?
we can start with the city council and the office of mayor. As you can see, not much change really. Just because we haven't had much of a change. A couple of things. Travel expenses, I left that the same. I did take lodging down a little bit because I don't know if we'll actually be traveling anywhere to need lodging for. Maybe in 22 or 21. Contributions to outside agencies, of course, that one's blank for now. So I did ask them all to be prepared to present to you on the first meeting in February. Let's see, anything you want to change as far as your council contingency? I kind of left those just where they were at.
Remind me what kind of stuff falls under there? I can't remember.
So like council contingency would cover, so let's say we did, a good example from tonight is we did the payment arrangement agreement with the Seelys.
Mhm.
So that needs to be under general fund. So that will go under council contingency. And so when they pay it, it'll just go back into the general fund.
Okay.
Like the 4-year audit, that kind of goes under the council contingency.
Okay.
Other things would be like, say you wanted to have a study or, you know, do something downtown, or maybe you voted to put in a sidewalk somewhere and you wanted to use, it's, you know, the council's choice to do that thing kind of out of the ordinary.
More or less kind of like a miscellaneous. I don't
Kind
know.
of, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so nothing else really changed in the mayor's unless you have anything. You have mayor contingency, but it doesn't look like we ever put anything in there.
Oops.
Wrapping off.
I don't know.
Music timing is poor.
Yeah. Moving along to Office of Administrator, nothing too exciting there either. Most I just recommended we just take our group insurance up by 5% because we don't really know where we're at or what insurance we're going to go with. The partial self-funding seems to be saving us some money. There have been some issues with it a little bit, I'd say, just because the co-pays went up by so much. That's mainly what I've heard about or what I've experienced.
I see you set the auto allowance at 0. Is there,
There wasn't one in my contract, so I put it at 0.
Oh, okay,
I didn't notice it either till I was going through this. And I was like, oh yeah. So yes, it is set at 0. So I guess I'll just keep track of mileage if I have to, if that's fine.
okay,
Yeah, that would
okay.
work. Not that big of a deal. The software maintenance contract, I kind of left the same since we do still have the website. Between the Archive Social and the G Suite, I am going to try and get some price comparisons to go back to Microsoft, just because we shouldn't have to encrypt our emails to send them, and that's what Archive Social's for. I'll have to, I need to double check too to make sure. That sounds like the amount we pay them, but I actually thought their last bill was more money because I think they were charging us for encryption besides the software. But I'll double check that one before we finalize anything. But that is quite a lot of money to be paying for just our email service.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by that. Is that something that we need to take a better look at and
Definitely.
is there an advantage to switching to something else?
So Outlook, Microsoft Outlook is encrypted. Most cities use that because, for example, the police department needs to have encrypted email to send to the state. So their communication with the state needs to be through an encryption, and that's why we have, oh, not Archive Social, it's Zix. So yeah, Zix is also in here. Zix is about $4,000 annually, plus the 7,200 from G Suite. So I know he got the G Suite because it gave him, which I haven't figured out how he was doing it, but somehow you could read all of the emails that went in and out of Google on the city account.
Right.
So
If we went to Office 365, it still gives us the ability to retrieve emails if we have to, but would it be
yeah,
good enough? Okay.
yeah, because it would still be it would be Outlook in Office 365.
Right.
Yeah, and I know he liked the Google Sheets, which they're nice for sharing, but you can do the same thing in the Microsoft version.
Right. Okay.
So anyway, I just left that the same just because I think we should be fine there. Hopefully we can lower it. Let's see. Otherwise, I just kind of filled it in the same as it was down the line. I'm not quite sure what all. I haven't signed up for any organizations or anything at this point, but other than my usual clerk ones. Let's see. And then moving on to support administration. That I just did, again, 3% wage. And then all the rest of it's kind of the same. Work comp. The work comp insurance did kind of take a skyrocket a little bit in 2020. So possibly that number could be bumped up a little bit. I added 3% to our adopted from 21. I think on the quite a few of the other ones, I did use the 2020 figure. And I know the fire department, I used the 2020 figure because it had gone up so much. So that one could probably use to be 4,000 instead of 2160. Again, I kind of kept everything kind of the same down the line. I don't know if there's anything that jumps out that you want to look at. I don't anticipate us having to buy any other office equipment. Other than we may have to look at getting a different, possibly desktop scanner for the new accounting system. Haven't looked in, they haven't quite done that audit of our current equipment yet. I know our large copy scanner will be fine, but I don't know about the smaller ones on our desk. So it shouldn't be anything major though.
One thing I would like us to take a look at some point is taking a look at the front of City Hall and figuring out if we need to have tuck pointing done or something, because there looks like there's getting to be some loose bricks.
Towards the top. Yeah.
Yes. So I would like us to be proactive and see if we
Okay.
can't get that maybe taken care of before we start having some real issues.
Sure. So yeah, so maybe under the City Hall section. The only thing I had put in there was maybe to replace the brown carpet it's gotten to a point where it's kind of unraveling, where it has a seam. But yeah, definitely we could put in something for tuck pointing. Everything with the senior center, I kind of left the same. I haven't really heard too much from them. And I know like with in the 2020 budget, really all we had was just some minor repairs to things there. It wasn't anything too major. Unless you know of anything, Alan.
Nothing that they were talking about the I don't care, the grout in between the tiles or something
Okay.
to me, but I think they waxed the floors and did some other stuff.
Okay with the
So
brown.
I haven't heard any complaints. Let's just put it that way.
What section is the senior dining? I'm not seeing it.
If you
Hey,
yeah,
Jake,
yep.
Where's the bottom?
Okay, I see it now. Got it.
Did we have a discussion one time, and I might be wrong on this, but did we have a discussion one time about the senior dining, the roof? Maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago? Anybody remember that?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, kind of seems like it, Rich. And I don't know what was all bad or what we ever decided. It seemed like somebody said it might be getting time to check it, but evidently nothing's gotten done.
Yeah, I can't remember. It just seemed like in the back of my mind that we had a discussion about it at one time.
And their maintenance figure wouldn't be $600.
No,
I could talk to them about it, but it's nothing, that was before my time here discussing that, but
Yeah,
since I've been here, nobody's said anything about the roof, but I can ask. In fact,
Yeah,
I-
and it might be that the discussion was the roof was starting to near the end of its life. I can't remember. But it just back of my mind seems like we had that discussion.
It is, I think we should go to steel instead of shingles.
What was that, Al?
I said if it is into a point where it needs redone, I think we should go to steel instead of shingles. My building withstood the derecho, and it's got steel on it, and that was put up in 1997. So it's got beat up quite a few times, and it's still there. For shingles, I would have replaced them at least twice by now.
Right.
I can ask. In fact, I've gone down and looked. I put roofs on before, so I can get a sense of what's going on down there.
Well, we got to take care of our buildings, because if we don't, we're going to have a lot of problems.
Will the old police station move into administrative concerns or stay in police concerns as we go forward with the new police station?
so it won't stay in the police department unless they're gonna use it for anything.
And
He's saying no, yeah, it was a no. So yeah, it'll probably just.
I take it that's a no.
I'm gonna guess we'll probably put it in probably with city hall maintenance, kind of just another city building. We'll probably have to.
so where's the roof on it?
So currently it's still in the police department.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if we ever even got an estimate. Yeah.
I didn't hear any of that.
The roof estimate for the police station, it just,
Yeah.
there is an estimate, but it hasn't gone any farther than that this year.
Okay.
I did bump up the legal services because it seems we've been using quite a bit of legal services. And I did put in for the election because it is an election year. If you look on City Hall, so it'd be on page 8. I did have some supplies for downtown. With that, we usually bought the mulch and miscellaneous other things for the flower beds downtown. It was at 1,300 for this year. We so far haven't used any of that. We've kind of gotten mulch and things from other places. And I just moved it up a little bit to 1,500 for next year. I don't know if you want to leave it there or you want it higher. We can buy bedding plants with it or all of that kind of stuff.
So the city will be,
We're not really doing anything with them this year and kind of having a new approach. I want to leave them a little more money than that because,
Yeah, we'll more than likely use up the 1,300 this spring. And then that would be for next spring. So
Okay.
Or if we had anything fall in the fall, but usually not too much happens in the fall.
Any questions for Beth on the administrative city hall budget?
So it's the total figure for 22. Accidentally the same as the November 30th. Page 9. We used the 253 and add 37% to it, which way did?
Oh, so the 253 is lower because I don't have all the transfers in.
Okay,
So back on page 6. So I just don't have the figures yet for the transfer perspective. That the employee benefits, because it kind of will tie to that levy,
okay.
as well as emergency fund. I did get the amount for the library. I guess it's only section. So yeah, that's why it's so much lower.
Okay.
Thank you. Usually quite a bit of money. And the 37% is just my figure as to like the percent we've spent so far this year compared to our budget for this year.
Oh, okay.
So it just kind of lets me know where we're at month wise. Okay, thank you. You betcha. If you think of something else, just send me an email. We'll probably go look through everything again on our February 1st work session and kind of, if you come up with some things, just jot them down. So I will try and get an estimate for tuck pointing. And if you want to let me know what you think about the roof, maybe we need to get an
I'll go
estimate for it.
I'll take a look at it.
So as we're going through this kind of reminds me, but I mean, we haven't met for over 2 months, but Rod, the task force, since they're an arm of the city, should they be getting a line item? That might be something we want to put on here.
My understanding after speaking about it with Beth is we just can't do that. It all has to basically funnel through City Hall and the general fund. The makeup for the structure doesn't permit a budget.
Okay. So like planning and zoning, for example, doesn't have a budget.
No.
Okay. So any expenditures would come through it for approval and paid from the general fund. Gotcha.
Yeah, the way it would have to occur is they would submit a recommendation to the council, and the council would have to approve and then allocate money for that request.
Now, if you knew what you were going to, like if you had a project in mind, then you could at least make sure it was allotted for in the budget. you know, it'd just be under a general fund line item.
Well, the last meeting that was held in this, the way signage was, you know, and the council's already approved that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for that one, we just got approval for which firm and up to this amount, so
Yeah.
that's how that was handled. So that's, I guess, basically how we'll do it going forward. If we have an expenditure, it gets brought to the council, and then if approved, it'll be paid from the general.
Is there, you know, means that's all gonna occur midstream, mid-budget. Is there a way to set aside, you know, I don't know, I'm just throwing a number out now, $5,000?
So if you kind of knew what kind of project it was gonna be, so like if you knew how much the wayfinding signs were gonna cost, then, I mean, you could do it out of like council contingency. Or, I'm trying to think of,
Because we got approval to do the study and the design, just not the actual
sign,
making the signs themselves.
right?
I mean,
There-
yeah,
There was an
that's
estimation, Jeff, do you remember what that was? What
Are
the
you saying for
estimated signage,
costs. I can't remember. I mean,
7 to 10?
yeah, that's probably the tangible project that comes to mind in the near future as far as that committee. I mean, if we could have 10, you know, kind of,
I think they're really looking for that to occur before July.
Okay.
So in a sense, that'd be coming out of current budget, not future.
Right, right.
yeah, who knows if it's going to happen now, but if Ragbri does in fact come, you know, we had talked, that'd be as good a time as any to have them in place. But when they're going to be coming would be the current budget year.
Which I guess it's something that we can work through no matter what, no matter.
So, I mean, you could always add money to the downtown, the supplies for downtown, or we could do a different line item for downtown.
Maybe do that and have some commentary on the side for the increase.
What page are you looking at?
Page 8.
Is there an amount you would like to see plugged in there, Jeff?
No, like I said, it's been 2 months since we met. We need to get back together and meet, but
But that would be this year's budget if we're paying for it this year, not next year's, or, you know, not
Yeah.
2022 anyway.
Right. This is only for after July 1.
Right.
yeah. I mean, even if we did, can we do a 5,000, a little 5,000 one? I mean, we may or may not use it, but you know, if it comes before July 1st, we just have to get approval since it wasn't in last year's budget. But can we put 5,000 in there, something like that?
For 22?
Yeah.
So would you just like to take like the council contingency up by 5,000? That gives you the flexibility to, if they put it on that, use it on something else.
If that works, that's because we may or may not use it, but at least have something. If that's feasible and do it there, I don't really care.
for the 22 budget.
Yeah.
So that would make it 8,000.
Oh, so I see. You're going from 3 to, yes. Yep.
Council contingencies, page 1, right, Beth?
Yep.
Oh, there it is. I'm sorry.
So like okay, so the council approved up to 10,000 on the design and study of the wayfinding signage. So when that's completed, that'll be done, obviously, I would think before July 1st. Since it was approved, where would that money be pulled from in the current year's budget? Would that be contingency 2 or something different?
Contingency too.
Contingency. Okay. Yep, let's do that then. If that's where it's going to come from for that, let's put it for that for next year's budget.
Any other discussion on 12.2 Administrator City Hall budget? We all good, Beth?
I think so.
Should we move to 12.3, the library budget?
If Rebecca's ready.
Rebecca, you want to take the lead on this?
Of course.
Why not, huh?
Because I have control of the computer. Ha ha ha. I made a very short PowerPoint because I love PowerPoints. So
We love
hopefully
looking at them.
good. I don't know how visible this is going to be on the TV in the council chambers. So if it's blurry, you
good.
can just listen to the sound of my beautiful voice. So
It looks good.
excellent. So the library board started meeting back early October to discuss sort of where we felt the library's budget was going to fall. Basically, the question we asked ourselves was if the library continues to serve the community at, shall we say, last fiscal year's rate, not the current fiscal year, because that's kind of crazy. What would that look like? How would we continue operating at that level? So, see if I can, there we go. So first, a little overview of the expenditures. We talked about a 2% personnel wage increase. This was something that I had talked to Beth about. The library board wants to be in line with where the city is going to go, so that whatever that percentage is could change. Other increases are to insurances, health, structural, and liability. If you look at the other line items, some are up, some are down. Those are changed to more accurately reflect where our expenditures are actually going, so that we don't have one that we're always going over and one that's always under each year. So when you kind of boil it all down, the vast majority of the approximately $9,000 in increase to the library's budget in expenditures this year is in personnel. The big blue part of my pie chart. And the rest of it, the red slice, is from the contracts and services section, which is basically insurance, structural and liability insurance. In the LOT request, the library basically has 3 parts of that. The first, technically, I think in the line items, it's computer equipment first, where we replace computers. If there's any other electronic equipment in the building that needs to get replaced or fixed, more replaced, it comes out of there. We always get a few replacement computers every year because our computers get used a lot and they get used well. And so they don't last quite as long as some of the other computers that we purchase. In the equipment section, we purchase some materials like newspapers and the high school yearbook. We also buy all of our online resources. So all of our ebooks come out of that line item. And we put the geothermal replacement, an approximate amount for that in the LOT again this year. So I've talked several years about how the library has been replacing their broken geothermal units. We had 3 that for sure were broken and not running. The current fiscal year that we are in, we plan to replace the last one that is broken. Having talked with our geothermal people, they recommend that the lifespan of the geothermal units that we have in the building is 15 years. The building will be 20 years old in 2024. And we have about 12 geothermal units in the building. We've replaced 3 of those. So will have replaced 3 of those. So there's 9 left. And so the idea, yeah, it's a lot. So the idea being, or the plan being that we should be planning to replace at least 1 geothermal unit a year. We'll hold off till towards the end of the year to see if a geothermal unit breaks. If that geothermal unit breaks, then we fix that geothermal unit, and we've already planned for it. If we get to the end of the year and one has not broken, then we find the one that's in the roughest condition, and that's the one we replace. That was the idea. So in the revenue request, I just wanted to show you guys where the library's other revenue comes from. We do get our biggest portion from the rest of our revenue comes from the county. We do also get a little bit from the State Library of Iowa, which we very much appreciate. The other room rental, miscellaneous revenue, donations, and fines and late fees, those are always very nebulous. I never quite know where those are going to land. The current fiscal year, we are way under our projections for those revenues. And so what I did, I'm making an assumption that next year we might not be back up to where we were last year for revenues. People probably aren't going to come to the library to pay their late fees because they're going to be struggling the same as everybody is, still trying to get back on their feet. So some of that stuff is probably not going to get back up to pre-COVID levels right away. So what I did was I looked at where the current year I am now projecting we're going to fall, and then kind of tried to find a halfway point with where we used to be to calculate those. So that is about 42,600 for revenues that we're getting elsewhere. But the big number that you guys want to know is what we're requesting from the general fund. The library this year, based on where everything falls, would be requesting $239,182. I am happy to answer any other questions that you guys might have from looking at the other line items.
Rebecca, did I hear you said that would be a $9,000 increase from?
In expenditures, yeah.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, your miscellaneous revenue, is that 19,420 as of December 31st?
Yeah, I think that is from the transfer that happened so that we could balance out our fund from a deficit from last year.
So that's not necessarily revenue, it's just, okay.
No. I did, so I don't know how many of you know this or remember this, but the library does have some investment funds, and we do the donation part of the pie chart is as big as it is because we draw from those donation or those investment funds to pay for books and for children's programs every year. And this year we've actually gotten quite a few donations specifically for children's programs. So we're trying to do our best to get things in the hands of our families this year using those donations. Since we were talking about roofs, the library building will be 20 in 2024. So the library is going to be looking at roof replacement probably in the next several years. So far, it's held up pretty well. We had a little bit of a leak during the derecho, but we've kept an eye on that leak because the insurance company decided it wasn't because of the derecho. And it hasn't leaked since. So we're keeping an eye on it to make sure that it doesn't leak like with the snow melt. But that will be on the library board's list of things to do shortly.
You said there will been 3 geothermal units replaced. Like the third one will come from last year's budget or this current
This
year's.
current year.
So ending 2021.
Correct.
So then are you going to be replacing a 4th one in the budget we're talking about right now?
Right.
Okay. So that'd leave 5 still in the next couple years, right?
So I think there's 12 in the building total.
Okay. 8 more. 8 more.
It's like counting my mother's aunts and uncles. I always miscount.
Yeah.
But it's in the 12 range.
Do you know roughly what each replacement is?
Between 12 and 14,000 so far has been the rate, and we no longer get a rebate back. The federal government changed their rebate program for those replacement units. So we get a little bit of one, but not a huge one anymore.
Okay.
Any other questions I can answer?
I don't have any.
Nice job with the pie charts.
What?
Nice job with the pie charts.
Oh, well, thank you. I love them.
We can tell.
Well, if there's no other questions for Rebecca, once again, last call for any questions on the previous budgets. Well, Beth and Rebecca, thank you for your diligence in putting the budget together and presenting tonight. I know it can be a daunting task. It's even more difficult when you know that a council will ask for cuts anyway, so you try to make them on the upfront side. But again, nice job of putting them together. If there is no other discussions, I will move for an adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Rich. All in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.